Hello and welcome, dear friends. I hope you are doing great today. In this video, we will share an incredible true story, one that shows how courage, determination, and hope can change a life completely. This is the story of Liz Murray, a young girl who faced unimaginable hardships, losing her mother, living homeless on the streets, and fighting every day just to survive. But despite all the pain and struggle, Liz never gave up. She turned her darkest moments into the brightest future by earning a place at Harvard University. As you listen to her story, you will not only feel inspired, but you will also improve your English skills. This video is designed to help you learn new words, understand real-life conversations, and practice listening, all while enjoying a powerful and motivating story. Through her journey, you will learn about resilience, the power of never giving up, and how one person's determination can overcome even the hardest challenges. Stay with us until the end, because this story will inspire you to believe in yourself, no matter where you come from or what you've been through. Get ready to feel motivated and reminded that every step forward, no matter how small, can lead to greatness. Let's begin this amazing journey together.
Liz Murray was born in the Bronx, New York City, in 1980. From the very beginning, life was harsh for her. Her parents were both addicts. Her mother struggled with cocaine addiction, and her father was deeply addicted to heroin. The family lived in a tiny, run-down apartment that seemed to be falling apart. The walls were cracked, the floors dirty, and cockroaches were a constant, unwelcome presence. The refrigerator was often empty, and the electricity was frequently cut off. Liz's earliest memories were filled with chaos and neglect. She remembers the loud arguments between her parents, the smell of smoke that never seemed to leave the house, and the fear she felt as a child who should have been protected, but instead was surrounded by danger. Food was scarce. Some days, Liz and her younger sister would eat ice cubes just to calm their hunger. Imagine a child biting on ice because there was nothing else to eat. This was Liz's reality. Their clothes were worn and torn, and baths were rare luxuries. Despite these hardships, Liz tried to live a normal life. She went to school every day, carrying the weight of her broken home in her small backpack. At school, she was quiet and kept to herself. Other kids whispered about her ragged clothes and strange smell. Teachers noticed her tired eyes and messy hair, but didn't understand what she was really going through. Liz was good at reading and loved to lose herself in books. They were her escape from the pain at home. Stories of faraway places and people who overcame great struggles gave her hope. But as she grew older, things got worse. Her mother's health declined due to years of drug abuse. She contracted AIDS, a cruel consequence of her addiction. Liz became her mother's caretaker, a role no child should ever have to play. She watched as the woman who once read poetry to her in their cold apartment became weaker and more distant. When Liz was only 15, her mother passed away. The loss shattered her world. With her father unable to care for her, mentally unstable, and himself homeless, Liz found herself completely alone. No family to turn to, no safe place to live. She became homeless, a teenager on the streets of the Bronx, with nowhere to go and no one to protect her. She slept in subway stations, on park benches, and on the floors of strangers who sometimes took pity on her. The nights were freezing cold, and the days were filled with fear and uncertainty. But even in the darkest moments, Liz held on to one thing: hope. She still carried books in her backpack, reading whenever she could. She remembered her mother's words, whispered in her last moments, "You can do anything." This was the beginning of an incredible journey, a journey from homelessness to Harvard. After the heartbreaking loss of her mother, 15-year-old Liz found herself completely alone. Her father, Peter, had become homeless and mentally unstable, unable to care for her. So Liz had no choice but to survive on the streets of the Bronx. Imagine being a teenager with no home, no bed to sleep on, no warm meals, no one to turn to for help. How would you survive a cold winter night in New York City? Liz had to find shelter wherever she could, in subway stations, behind dumpsters, on cold park benches, or sometimes in the stairwells of abandoned buildings. She learned quickly that the streets were dangerous. There were people who looked out for each other, but also many who didn't hesitate to take advantage of someone so vulnerable. Every day was a fight to stay safe. Sometimes Liz would hide from the police because she had nowhere legal to sleep.
Food was a constant worry. Many nights she went hungry or survived on scraps, a slice of cold pizza someone left behind, or leftover food given by kind strangers or restaurant workers. Pride had to be swallowed every day, along with tears. Despite this, Liz never gave up on her education. How could a homeless girl keep going to school? It was not easy. Many days she arrived at school tired, hungry, and cold. Her clothes were old and dirty, and she often smelled of smoke and mold. But Liz carried books in her backpack like treasures. They were her lifeline. She studied in the subway stations during the evenings, using the faint light of the lamps to read her textbooks. She would write essays in the corners of stairwells, trying to ignore the harsh reality outside. Sleep was a luxury, often stolen in short bursts between the dangers of the streets. Have you ever felt so tired, so alone, and so hopeless, yet still forced yourself to keep going? That was Liz every single day. Her teachers noticed her determination and began to help. They connected her with social workers and encouraged her to keep studying. Slowly, Liz began to believe that maybe her dreams were still possible. At age 17, after years of hardship, Liz applied for a special high school program, Humanities Preparatory Academy, which accepted students who had faced difficult lives. She was admitted, but she knew the real challenge was still ahead. Liz threw herself into her studies with fierce determination. She was no longer just surviving, she was fighting to change her future. She stayed up late every night studying biology, English, and history. She wrote essays and worked on projects with a passion that amazed her teachers. But how do you catch up when you've missed so much?
Liz had to learn 4 years of high school material in just 24 months.
It meant long nights, missed social life, and endless pressure. Still, she pushed forward. Every test passed, every essay completed was a victory. Her past no longer defined her. Her future was hers to write. Then came the moment that changed everything: the college application process. Liz wrote an essay about her life, raw, honest, and powerful. She told her story of homelessness, loss, and determination. She didn't ask for pity. She wanted to show that despite everything, she could succeed. Her essay caught the attention of the New York Times College Scholarship Program, a prestigious award given to students who have overcome extraordinary hardships. Out of hundreds of applicants, Liz was one of just 6 recipients that year. This scholarship meant everything. It was the key to her dream of attending Harvard University.
Receiving the New York Times scholarship and being accepted at Harvard University was not the end of the road. It was the beginning of a new, challenging path that Liz had to fight for with all her heart. When Liz earned the prestigious and rare New York Times scholarship, she realized this golden opportunity was a once-in-a-lifetime chance that she had to make the most of. But the conditions were far from easy. She had no financial support from family, no experience with university life, and everything was new and difficult for her. Every morning, before the sun rose, Liz woke up. She traveled a long way on crowded New York buses, sometimes having to change vehicles several times to reach the university. Her clothes were simple and old, and she had a tight budget for food, but her spirit was stronger than anything. At night, when her peers were at parties or sleeping, Liz was studying in public libraries or her dorm room. She spent hours with heavy textbooks in biology, history, and literature, even when she felt deeply tired. She never let her difficult life conditions stop her progress. On the contrary, every challenge became a motivation to try harder. Besides her studies, Liz volunteered with organizations helping homeless people. She wanted to support others, just as she had once needed help. These activities made her feel that her life had more meaning and a clearer purpose. Liz learned that to achieve her dreams, she had to take small, steady steps every day. Even when everything was against her, she resisted and never gave up. Whenever she felt tired or discouraged, she remembered her mother's words, "You can do anything." This phrase was like a driving force that pushed her forward again. She also understood that asking for help is not a weakness, but a sign of strength. She trusted her professors, advisors, and university friends, building a network of support that helped her through tough times. With all this effort, Liz managed to earn excellent grades on exams and actively participated in extracurricular activities. She joined student clubs and often spoke to classmates and even professors about her life story, inspiring many others. The greatest lesson in Liz's life was that one should never give up, even when everything seems impossible. And that is the message she shares with all of us today. Life may be hard, but with willpower and perseverance, we can move from any darkness toward the light.
After years of relentless effort, Liz finally graduated from Harvard University. But her story did not end there. In fact, this was just the beginning of a new mission in her life. Liz realized that success was not just for herself, but an opportunity to help others who were trapped in difficult situations like hers. She decided to share her life story with the world to inspire those stuck in the darkness. She began speaking at schools, conferences, and various events. Every time she took the stage, her voice would tremble, but her words were full of power and hope. She spoke about the days of homelessness, cold nights in parks, and studying under the dim streetlights. Can you imagine how a teenage girl with no support got accepted into Harvard and now inspires thousands? Liz also worked closely with homeless aid organizations. She volunteered, organized fundraising campaigns, and taught homeless children how they could find hope and purpose in life. Her memoir, Breaking Night, tells her life story with all its real details. The book is not just about pain and suffering, but about hope, courage, and the power of change. She learned from her hardships that life is a path full of twists and turns, but each turn
can be a new beginning. Liz teaches us that failure and hardship are not the end of the road, but the start of a great journey. A journey that leads us to become the best version of ourselves.
Liz Murray's life shows us that no circumstance can stop us from reaching big dreams, even when everything seems impossible. She teaches us that the power of will and perseverance can break through any hardship. Asking for help is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of courage and wisdom. Taking one small step every day toward your goal is a way to build a better future. Our past does not define us. Our choices and efforts today shape our future. Liz always emphasizes that her story is not just about herself, but about anyone facing tough challenges in life and looking for a way to move forward. If you ever feel lost in the dark, know that you can find the light. The path may be hard, but with hope, effort, and support from those around you, you can overcome any obstacle. So remember, never give up, because inside you is a power that can move mountains. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you found Liz's story inspiring and helpful, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more amazing stories and English learning content. To wrap up, always keep these points in mind. Believe in yourself, keep moving forward step by step, and never lose hope. Your journey is just beginning. Stay strong and see you in the next video.